Milanes on behalf of the Hispanic Bar Association. The vagaries of immigration law are vast. I'm Cuban American. My parents came here legally at a time right after Fidel Castro took over the island. The difference for me is I was born here in the Commonwealth, a U.S. citizen. And I'm very proud of being Cuban American, but very proud of being American. Because this is the land of opportunity, and this is the land of rule of law. Now, I don't believe that many of the people that are in opposition to these bills in any way are saying, hey, illegal immigration is okay, or we favor illegal immigration. That's not the point. The point is that in the Bible, it says, the sons shall not be responsible for the crimes of the parents. The parents shall not be responsible for the crimes of the sons. In our Constitution, meaning the Virginia state constitution, we follow the U.S. Constitution. No state shall pass a bill of attainder, and there shall be no corruption of blood. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what these education bills seek to do. Corruption of blood has been part of the English common law system for quite some time. But our founders found it to be abhorrent, an aberration. It is not part of the legal system we as Americans believe in. So, when we're talking about children who were brought here by their parents, and now that they have worked hard, because this bill talks about not admissions, it talks about enrollment. It talks about those individuals who have worked hard enough to make it through the admissions process, have proven their worth, and are now competing at the same level with everyone else. And they're not getting any extra breaks. So they've met the standards. They've proven themselves. And now we're looking at them as, you're an illegal alien, or person not presently lawfully here in the United States. Those kids are dreamers. Why? Because more than anything, they want to be like you and me. They want to have the same rights, but they're also willing to take on the same responsibilities. And that's where I believe we ultimately want to go. This Commonwealth has done exceptionally well during this economic crisis that we are presently in. Partly because we have very strong economic contributors. U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, and yes, even the undocumented. So, before we look at these kids as just being tagged as illegal aliens, consider they're not responsible for those actions. But they're trying to be here as productive members of society. So, what I would plead with you, and again, I only mentioned this once because it applies really to all of the education bills. When it deals with education, no one's asking for an extra leg up. These kids are here to compete at the same level as everyone else. They either prove themselves or they don't. When we take the bar exam, you know what? It's the same bar exam. Please, consider that an educated Virginian contributes to the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I got a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
Let's say, and the Bible may actually say the opposite of what you said.
It depends on if you got King James,
yeah,
which Bible do you want?
Well, I don't want to equate the poor decision of coming to the country illegally and bringing your children with you illegally. I don't want to equate that with sin, okay? So let's just leave that out of the equation. But the issue is that we have a finite number of resources, and every year we argue about, I know Delegate Albo takes a particular interest in the fact that we don't have enough slots in our public universities and colleges for our kids right now. We just, it's, you know, we just don't have enough spots. And,
Well, who's our
wait a
kid?
minute.
Who's our kids?
Wait. So, the issue is that there are people who are citizens and lawfully present in the United States who we do not have enough room for as it is. And you're suggesting that we should make room for people who, when they graduate with a degree in nuclear physics, will not be able to work legally in the United States, even though we just gave them a nuclear physics degree or any other degree. They can get that degree. They can make all A's, be top of their class, and when they get out, they are still in the same position they were when they went in, which is that they can't work.
That assumes that they will never adjust status. And the vast majority of persons who are here undocumented do adjust status. They either, at some point, marry an American citizen because they fall in love, or they show through hardship that they're entitled to an adjustment of status. The fact of the matter is, no, you cannot say that someone who's here illegally today will continue to be illegal for the next 10 years. So, are we investing in someone who's going to leave the country, or are we investing in someone who's going to stay right here? I would suggest to you that the vast majority would like to stay here. And when I was talking about the vagaries of immigration law, consider this. My cousins who are currently in Cuba who were not able to leave, if they land in Florida and put their foot on dry land, well, they'll get due process, and one day they'll become U.S. citizens. And those folks will have an opportunity just like I did. But God forbid, they should be 200 yards out in the water and Coast Guard picks them up. They're illegal aliens. You know, that's not a great system, but it's not the state system. It's the federal system. Okay? But we're talking here about Virginians. And when you say our kids, I got news for you. Even those undocumented kids, you're their representatives. And those are our kids.
Well, look. There's no question that there are tragic circumstances that exist. There are stories that have tugged at my heart about young people who grow up fully assimilated into the American culture, not even knowing that they are illegally present. And I've heard stories of that. They may graduate from high school with all A's and trying to get into college, and only then realize that they're present here illegally. Again, do not want to equate it with the sins of the father, because I don't know that it needs that sort of being equated with that. But again, I just reiterate, we have finite resources, finite number of slots, and as much as people want to point the finger at people like me and say that I'm denying these young people their dream, I didn't put them in this position, and neither did anybody else up here. And they should take that up with their parents, okay? And
but aren't these bills of disenfranchisement? Isn't that what we're talking about? We're disenfranchising.
Delegate Miller.
Mr. Chairman, I don't see disenfranchisement. I don't, sir. A question for you. Do you see any degree of qualification, of immigration qualification for our universities? You keep talking about our kids. Let me give you an example. How about a gentleman comes in this country illegally at the age of 22?
Someone who comes here illegally at the age of 22
he crosses the border illegally.
has done what? They have taken an affirmative act upon themselves to break a current law.
Okay, how about a person that comes here illegally at the age of 16 without parents, enrolls in high school in Arlington County for a couple of years, finds out that education is good for him, that he's good at it. How about a 16-year-old that knowingly comes to this country illegally? It's a heart-tearing story. He comes to this country illegally at the age of 16, enrolls in high school in Arlington County. I know such a student. I was a policeman in Arlington County for many years. And then wants to go to college.
Sir, if you would let Delegate Miller finish his question and statement.
And then applies to the University of Virginia and is accepted. There should be no...
That's an emancipated minor. And that
say he's 14 then, sir, and comes here.
Delegate Miller.
He's not an emancipated minor. And being emancipated is a very lengthy legal process.
Well, for an individual who has left his parents back in whatever country that they've come and has taken this action upon themselves, which you're saying he's decided this on himself, that's an emancipated minor. He doesn't necessarily need to go through an entire legal process to fit that, particular.
Okay, then you're agreeing with me that he shouldn't be allowed into the university.
Here's the point, Delegate.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Delegate Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Should that student, the emancipated minor that came here at the age of 16, and went to 2 or 3 years at Wakefield High School in Arlington and applied to the University of Virginia and is accepted, that's okay? We should not try to stop that?
The California Supreme Court recently received lauding from my national organization, the Hispanic National Bar Association, because of the laws passed by the California legislature, which state that anyone who can prove that they've been in the state legally for the 3 years prior to applying to a university in California is deemed an in-state resident for in-state tuition. So in that sense, California has already deemed that yes, that individual
We're not
is
California,
in fact,
sir.
No, we're not, but that's part of the United States, isn't it?
Okay, I'm going to stop the back and forth now, and I apologize that I started it, and we want to hear from some other folks. Thank you, sir.